This is the arrangement of chapter 2. So we are starting the text 1 of Nave Architecture for non-Nave architects, Korean version of this one. And we are trying to cover the general arrangement. Okay. So it is very similar to arranging the rooms in this building. If you want to design or build a building like this one, you should set up where should be the staircase, where should be the elevator, and then on the ground there must be a boiler system, including toilet and classroom, corridor, things like that. That kind of thing is we call it a general arrangement. But it is specialized for the ships. So basic principle and sample and illustration may be mostly covered by second part of the class of presentation.
Sorry.
Yes,
I think you sounding the same.
really?
Yeah.
Then you can do first time,
Okay.
right? Then I can cover the second part.
Can I go download my file from the
Your presentation, okay. Here's your.
So good morning, everyone. I'm Agateo, and I will present about general arrangements. As Professor has said, it's from this book called Naval Architecture, and we'll talk about general arrangements. So, as he has said, general arrangement is basically how you arrange the space of the ship, like the inside, and also, yeah, that's the basic of general arrangements. And there's 3 key drawings on a ship design: general arrangements, which we will cover today; the lines, which is like a hydrostatic and the dynamic lines; and also the midship section, which is the structural of the ship. As you can see here, it's kind of small, but it shows how the ship is sectioned into parts of the parts and how the volume will be used. This is the hydro lines, and this is the lines drawing. And lastly, this is the structural part, where like how the ship will be held in, like its shape can be held with the structures. First, we will see a bit of this. There's no sound in this video, but as you can see, from a ship, it can be sliced down into several parts, like how in that space the room will be used, the volume will be used, whether it is parts, whether it's the space for engines and like housings or things like that. Yeah, it is sliced down and down. There are different compartments, different spaces that are used. And then there are some basic principles in general arrangements, which is like where to locate rooms. Maybe the engine location of a small power yacht should be considered where to put, like, is it in the middle, like bottom, or is it just at the back, or like the mid position of the cabin accommodation, but no two designers will come up with the same answer. Maybe one side will say that, oh, the engine can be put in the front of the ship and then connected with links to power the turbine. But some others will say like, oh, to save space, we can put it at the back of the ship. And this answers there's experience and creative work needed to come up with these answers. This is one example of a vessel, which is the STX 2900 TEU. It's from the STX, which is the fourth largest company in the world. And it also handles the STX Europe, which is the second biggest company in Europe. Some other principles is like the primary function of the ship is the key for harmonizing conflicts. So we will see the function of the ship first, and it must govern the design, which is like for the fishing boat, whereas the fish catching equipment is for like cargo ships, where the cargo can be placed, and the method of cargo handling, how it can be moved on and off the ship, and through openings, like what openings, which is like, is it through the top or is it open? And for like rural ship, there will be like a ramp, which can for cars to get in and out, and also the location within the hull itself, where to put the boxes, the cargoes itself. So this is one example. This is a rural boat, like where, in which layer of the deck can the small cars go in, or the big cars, or even like the heavy equipments. And for this one is a mobile harbor, and how the harbor can be separated, and which volume can be used for which thing. So the principles of general arrangement is designed inside out. The interior arrangement, the volume, the spaces, it comes before the exterior appearance. However, in yacht and passenger ship, the reverse is true, where you design the outside first, how to make it look pretty and catching to the eyes, before designing the inside. On the ship or component service, what happened if bad weather, rain falling, rolling, pitching, and dip submergence? The designer needs to think of how he will be on board, and how he can get out in case of like emergencies. This is a dry bulk cargo carrier, which carries dry things such as wheat grains, sugar granules, powder, and so on and so forth. Here, the opening is on the top, where the dry bulk can be scooped in and put out. And they usually have a cover that keeps it dry from the weather. This is the cargo carrier. And then the next, there are some conflicting items, which is like a noisy part of the cabin, which is like machineries, and also the quiet ones. So like disco bar and library, you wouldn't put those two things together, or like machine room and like cabin, you wouldn't put it side by side, because then the passengers could not sleep in the cabin due to the noise. And then for like structural items, would you ever put a pillar in the middle of a room? No, right? So this is also considered in general arrangements. And also the clearance for repairs. Is there space to replace the pistons? Is there space to pull the tubes of the heat changer? Or even for a wrench or screwdriver? This all is accounted for in the general arrangements. Like we discussed when I did the discussion, how safety is also accounted like in small parts. This is one of them. So some other ships can be seen here, how the tanker, and then some unloading coal carrier, where the hull itself is just empty with like and it can just spray out the coal to the dock. And then also like this, how the tanker can go until like -45 Celsius degree operating condition, and that they can go through ice without the support of an icebreaker. So that's it from me. Thank you very much.